Okay, so what is this exactly? In 2007, Bandai started releasing a series of toys called Mugen Dekiru series, which means You Can Do It Forever series. A series of toys that mimic the sensation of things that people just enjoy doing and want to keep doing it. For example, the Infinite Edamame, which mimics the feeling of popping an edamame bean from its pod. Of course, when you talk about edamame, you gotta have beer. So you have the Infinite Beer Can to give you the sensation of opening a can of beer. Other toys are the Infinite Tearing, that mimics opening a box of snacks, the Infinite Tokoroten, that mimics squeezing Tokoroten noodles out of a Tokoroten cutter, and the Infinite Chocolate, that mimics breaking a square of a Meiji chocolate bar. But the very first one that ever came out, and the most popular one, is the Mugen Puchipuchi, which translates to Infinite Bubble Wrap. So the way Mugen Puchipuchi works is that you have 8 buttons on its face and it mimics the sensation of popping bubble wrap. Due to following the specifications of the actual trademarked bubble wrap by Japanese company Kawakami Sangyo, the size of the buttons and the spacing between them are the same as an actual sheet of bubble wrap. Even the sound that comes when you press the button is sampled from this specific bubble wrap being popped. Now, there is a little special detail on Kawakami Sangyo bubble wrap sheets. 1 in 10,000 bubbles is shaped like a heart. And the creators of the toy wanted to mimic that in a way, so every 100 button presses you get a random noise. A fart, a doorbell, a dog, etc. Now, this toy was quite popular. It took 5 months from its release day, August 8th, also known as Bubble Wrap Day in Japan, to sell 1 million units. Okay, so you have a successful toy, everyone likes popping bubble wrap, so everyone is getting it. What is the next logical step to take? Anime girls, of course! Mugen Puchipuchi PuchiMoe. The Moe anime girl bubble wrap fidget toy by Bandai started production and released in 2008. Now, you've seen the title of the video. It is a Tsundere bubble wrap fidget toy. You might be asking, what is so special about this? It is just a toy that comes with a cute anime girl on the packaging? Not quite. It makes use of the sound system to portray a tsundere character as you pop more and more bubbles. Every 50 pops, you get a spoken line. It starts with next comes, after that we get, and finally in the end we get. That's nice, isn't it? That's a nice tsundere. I quite like that. But there's more! To up the moe factor of the toy, if you stop playing with it and leave it there, after 15 seconds, it plays a line pleading you to pick it up again. Moe, right? And if that voice sounds a little bit familiar, when we talk about tsunderes, of course we talk about Kogi Miyarie, who gave her voice to this character. Now, this is nice and all, but what if you don't like tsunderes? What if you prefer something else? Let's say a maid character, a childhood friend character, a little sister character? Yes, they did more than one version of the toy to widen their target audience of otaku. And of course, every character had their own lines. The childhood friend starts with, next is, afterwards, and lastly, if you leave her for 15 seconds, she says, and she is voiced by Kogi Miyarie. The maid starts with, follows with, next is, and her last line is, if you leave her for 15 seconds, she says, and she is voiced by Kogi Miyarie. The little sister starts with, follows with, third one is, and the last one is, and if you leave her for 15 seconds, she says. And surprise, she is voiced by Kogi Miyarie. And this is pretty much what the toy itself is. According to an interview with one of the makers of the Mugen Puchipuchi toys, having Kugi Mierie, who is known for her tsundere roles, play other type of characters that she's not so used to, adds value to these toys. Now, I don't know about that, but these interviews are a bit interesting to me. The reason they added moe to the toy is because they were trying to achieve the ultimate healing. They claim it is not in any way an indecent product. But then they say that there is a sexiness to it that anyone could notice in terms of shape and the soft feeling in your hands. Okay, I could make a jab at this, but you know what? I'm convinced. And also, the toy Puppet that has a very similar concept. 100% you've seen this before. The idea for the toy was born from when one of the creators dreamed of a large field of breasts. Ladies' breasts that you can push the nipple. Do a carpet of nipples that you can push from one side to the other. The feeling is universal, I guess. The reason why you get a voice in 50 presses instead of 100 is because of what they call double speed moe. The pleading voices when you leave the toy alone are to make you pick it up again and become even more addicted and end up with the highest form of healing popping. On another interview, when asked why do people like popping bubble wrap, he says it's human instinct. Like when they see a hole, they want to put their finger in it. Cool example. But he himself wasn't very keen on moe. Understandable, he is just a toy maker. He did say he wanted a female teacher version of the toy though. So they left all the moe elements to the moe experts. Staff of a now defunct blog hosting website called Anime Shimasenka, they decided the archetypes, the personalities, the sentences, and even put in motion advertising websites where you could download wallpapers and visit the characters' blogs. Oh yes, there was blogs. Each character had their own personal blog where almost every day for over a year they posted in there, treating it as a personal diary as if they were real people. And together they had over 1,800 posts. And it is actually interesting to see, because it does end up developing the characters. The bubble wrap fidget toy characters. For example, the childhood friend blog, who goes by Saya, starts with her childhood friend canceling the plans she had with him on Christmas. And she even goes on a rant, like,
少しは私の気持ち分かってほしいな。いつも振り回されるのは私ばっかり。遅刻ばかりするから毎日私が早起きして起こしに行ってあげてるのにちっとも起きてくれないし、起きたと思えばいきなり服を脱ぎ出して私の焦る姿を見て楽しんだり、キスしてくれなくちゃまた寝ちゃう。とか、服着せてくれなくちゃ学校行かない。とか、いつもネクタイ曲がってるし、ハンカチも持っていかないし。と改めて考えるとよく我慢してるな。私、幼馴染じゃなければとっくに見放してるんだけどな。
Later on, there's even a whole Valentine's Day's arc where she plans to confess when giving him the chocolate, sees him with another girl, sees chocolate in his bag, runs away, avoids him for days, and he breaks into her room to explain the situation. Also, she likes cooking 100 yen shops and sticky foods like natto and okra, which is why her blog link has okra in the name. The Maid blog is quite peaceful. The girl who goes by Yukino lives in her master's mansion with her parents who work there. She does perform as a maid, but her main occupation is being a college student. She likes Haniwa statues and is quite clumsy. She does seem to be conscious of her master, but don't think she would be a good match for him due to her position. But you know how it is, it's quite obvious they have something for each other. She gives him Valentine chocolate, although he received a ton of them, but she received Haniwa-shaped cookies in return. Handmade. They throw her parents a secret party, he throws her a secret birthday party, and even gives her a jewel, amethyst. In a way, it just feels like we're flirting. Also, it's funny because the blogs sometimes break the fourth wall and they start talking about the Mugen Puchipuchi PuchiMoe toys. The childhood friend plays with her own toy, and there's also mentions of Ouchide Mugen Puchipuchi Wii for the WiiWare, where you can have all of the bubble popping with not much of the satisfaction. But at the very least, there is a Tsundere mode in the game as well. Okay, this is a thing, I guess. Talking about tsunderes, the Tsundere blog shows that her name is Rin, and she wanted to learn how to use the internet. She meets a boy who she calls that guy, who at first told her to Google it. She didn't understood what that meant, of course, and she kicked him when he explained it. But then he started teaching her how to use a computer properly. Her main objective was to research how to make a picture book since she really likes them, but she keeps the fact that she wants to make one a secret. Most of the blog is lost in time, but there is a really nice arc. She started making a scarf for her dad as a Christmas gift, but she made another one for no reason at all. She was invited to a Christmas party where people would exchange gifts. She was meant to give one to someone she didn't know, so of course, with a spare scarf on her hands, she gifts that person chicken roast, because she would be happy to receive a chicken roast. When returning from the party, she by accident sees that guy outside and decides to lend him the spare scarf because he looked cold like a dog left in the rain. So it was from pity and definitely not a gift. And after handing him the scarf, she runs away, but he gets to her and gives her a keychain that for some reason he had one to gift, just like that. And she accepts because it would have been a waste to not receive things given to you. And she starts using it. Oh, youth. And the interesting thing is, because this is a blog, of course we receive comments, and people played along with it, teasing Rin about everything, and she kept posting these blog posts, as if responding to these comments. It is quite an interesting way to present a story. Personally, I think it's the first time I've seen something like this. As for the little sister character, she goes by Kosuzu and lives alone with her mother. Her father is probably dead, but she doesn't know about it. She blue screened the computer on her school and starts going to the Oni-chan's house next door to borrow his computer and created a blog for practice purposes. He's not actually her brother, just an older guy who she calls Oni-chan. Now, the interesting thing about her Oni-chan is that he's an otaku and she slowly starts getting a costume to otaku related stuff, though she doesn't seem to understand much. One time she tried playing as a tsundere, but that was hard, so she planned on becoming a yandere. When she told her Oni-chan about it, he told her, "I would probably be loved to death." And she thinks that's incredible as she doesn't really get it. One time, the Oni-chan has been playing a game he just bought the whole time, and she complains that she wants him to play with her. But then she notes one of the girls in the dancing and singing game has a voice similar to hers, so she tries imitating her going and this was posted in the same day Idol Master Live for You launched in Japan. At one point, her classmate also starts going to his house. It is that sort of setting. But of course, all the blogs stopped updating and there really wasn't any conclusion in any of them. I guess they decided the campaign was over and just left it like that. Going back to the Moe Puchi, this got a prize. First place on the trendy toy category on the first Japan Toy Awards that happened in 2008. But it feels like a team project prize, where the other people do all the hard work, because the prize was given to the whole Mugen ni Dekiru series, including the normal Mugen Puchipuchi and the Mugen Edamame. In a Bandai document by May 2009, the Mugen Puchipuchi series was estimated to have sold 2.5 million units, and the Mugen Edamame 1.8 million units. But I don't know what the numbers for the Moe Puchi are. In another document, they estimated 300,000 sales in 3 months. But I never saw them boasting about achieving this, so either the numbers are included in the Mugen Puchipuchi 2.5 million units, or making this quirky little toy focusing on the otaku and the word moe that was popular at the time didn't pan out as they hoped. What I do know though is some people remember this little toy as a bit nostalgic, and if they find it while cleaning their belongings, they probably play with it a little bit and then never touch it ever again. Because honestly, looking back to everything that I said, this toy is not really that much of a big deal, is it? Yeah, that's all I have to say. See ya!